Alright guys, we are going to be reacting to 12 things in Germany that just make sense. They just make sense. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel and let's jump in.
There's a country in the heart of Europe where people wait patiently at crosswalks, even when no cars are in sight, separate their trash like it's a competitive sport, and somehow manage to have hundreds of different types of bread.
Ooh.
And what seems obsessive to the rest of the world feels completely natural to the 84 million people who call it home. Because in Germany, everyday life runs on a kind of logic that outsiders rarely see coming. Most visitors arrive expecting efficiency and engineering, maybe a few castles, definitely some beer. But what they actually discover is a society built on systems so practical, so well thought out, that once you understand them, you start wondering why the rest of the world has not caught on. Some of these habits seem strict at first, others feel almost too clever to be real. But behind each one is a reason that makes perfect sense once you know the story. These are not random quirks. They are solutions, refined over generations, and woven into daily life so deeply that Germans barely notice them anymore. And that is where things get fascinating.
Okay.
Because the first thing that shocks most newcomers is not the language, the history, or even the food. It is the bottles.
Bottles?
1. The fanned system. Walk into any German supermarket and you will notice something unusual near the entrance. A machine swallowing empty bottles and spitting out receipts like it is running a tiny recycling empire. This is the PF&D system, and it changes how people think about packaging entirely. Every bottle and can carries a small deposit, anywhere from a few cents to €0.25.
Wow.
You pay it when you buy the drink. You get it back when you return the container. Simple, efficient, and wildly effective. The machines scan each item, calculate the total, and print a voucher you can use at checkout. It becomes second nature so quickly that returning bottles feels less like a chore and more like collecting small rewards scattered around your kitchen. What looks like a minor inconvenience actually drives one of the highest recycling rates on the planet.
Wow.
People do not toss bottles in the trash because that is literally throwing money away. And the result is streets that stay cleaner, landfills that fill slower, and a system so logical that visitors wonder why their home countries have not copied it yet. Online, you will find endless discussions about how other nations could implement something similar. And every time, someone points out that Germany already figured this.
We tried to do this with some of the major cities in the United States, and it actually looks worse. And it looks worse. I don't know why. It just looks worse. Some of these places where you're supposed to just deposit some of that stuff, it looks worse, especially in New York City. I don't know, man. I don't even know what the hell's going on with my country.
But the German commitment to order does not stop at recycling. It shows up in places you would never expect, including one day of the week that feels like stepping into another world. If you've never experienced a German Sunday, you're in for a surprise. Shops close, lawnmowers stay silent, construction sites sit empty.
Wow.
And the entire country seems to take a collective breath. The streets feel different, calmer, almost sacred in a secular kind of way. These quiet laws, known as Ruhezeit, protect Sundays as a day of rest. It's not just tradition, it's actually enforced. Try vacuuming loudly in an apartment building on a Sunday afternoon, and you might get a polite but firm knock on the door. Start drilling into a wall, and you could find yourself explaining to neighbors why their relaxation matters less than your home improvement project. The social pressure alone keeps most people in line. To outsiders, it can feel extreme, restrictive even, but to Germans, it makes complete sense. One guaranteed day where noise fades, stress pauses, and people can actually recover before the week starts again. Families gather, people walk through parks, the rhythm of life slows down in a way that feels almost revolutionary in our always-on world.
There's nothing.
In a society that never stops buzzing, Germany carved out 24 hours of protected silence. And once you experience it, the constant noise everywhere else starts to feel like the strange choice. The apprenticeship system. While many countries funnel teenagers straight into universities or leave them drifting through dead-end jobs, Germany built something different. The Ausbildung system combines classroom learning with real-world training, and it's been running successfully for centuries. Young people don't just study theory in isolation. They work alongside professionals in real companies, earning actual money while gaining skills that employers desperately
need. That's the system right there. That's the system right there. Oh yeah, this is perfect.
The training can last 2 to 3 years, and by the time apprentices finish, they're not just graduates clutching degrees. They're qualified workers with years of hands-on experience and professional connections already built. It's one of the reasons manufacturing and craftsmanship in Germany carry such a strong reputation worldwide. The system treats skilled trades with the same respect as academic careers.
Good.
And the economy reflects it.
But they matter more. They're the one just keeping this thing moving. Good.
Low youth unemployment, high quality standards, a workforce that knows what it's doing from day one.
Good.
While other countries debate how to bridge the gap between education and employment, Germany has been quietly proving for generations that the bridge does not need to exist if you build the path correctly from the start. Free university education. Speaking of education, here is something that absolutely shocks visitors from countries drowning in student debt. Public universities in Germany charge almost no tuition for citizens and international students alike. Yes, really, the idea is straightforward. Education benefits everyone, so everyone should have access. Instead of starting adult life buried under mountains of loans, German graduates enter the workforce ready to contribute, build families, buy homes, and participate in the economy without decades of debt hanging over their heads like a storm cloud. Critics from other countries sometimes question how it works financially. Surely someone has to pay, and they are right. Taxes fund the system, but Germany figured out that investing in education up front means the returns show up in a more skilled, more productive, more innovative society down the line. It is the kind of long-term thinking that makes perfect sense once you stop treating education like a luxury product and start treating it like infrastructure. Now for something lighter, literally. Germany has over 3,000 officially registered types of bread. That's not a typo. 3,000. From dense, dark rye loaves that could double as doorstops to crusty rolls that crackle satisfyingly when you bite into them. Bread here is not just food. It is a cultural institution protected and celebrated like fine art.
And I had to say thank you so much for Germans that inspire me. You guys inspire me to make bread from home. Literally, we were just eating bread this morning. I make bread at least 2 to 3 times a week. Sourdough bread. I go through the entire process myself, and I enjoy it. And I have to say, thank you. Thanks to you guys, I managed to just build a skill and just implement it with my family.
Bakeries sit on nearly every corner, often family-run operations that have been perfecting recipes for generations. Germans take their selections seriously. Arguments about which bakery makes the best Brötchen can get surprisingly heated. The variety exists because different regions developed their own styles over centuries, and nobody wanted to give theirs up. What looks like an obsession is actually the result of deep local pride and a stubborn refusal to settle for boring, mass-produced mediocrity. Once you have tasted a proper German pretzel fresh from the oven, still warm, with that perfect balance of soft interior and salted crust, supermarket bread anywhere else starts to feel like a sad compromise you never noticed you were making. Here's a habit that confuses almost every visitor. Germans open their windows wide for a few minutes several times a day, even in the depths of winter when frost coats everything outside. It's called Stoßlüften, and it's practically a national ritual that gets passed down through generations. The logic is airtight, pun intended. Homes here are built to be energy efficient. sealed tight to keep precious heat in during long cold months. But that also traps moisture, cooking odors, and stale air that builds up throughout the day. So instead of leaving windows cracked all day long and hemorrhaging expensive warmth, Germans blast fresh air through quickly, 5 to 10 minutes of wide open shock ventilation, and then seal everything back up. It works brilliantly. Mold problems stay rare.
Hold up, what do you mean? Like, what?
And stay cold months. But that also traps moisture, cooking odors.
Okay, yeah. It's true. So you have to just get some fresh air. Yeah, I agree with that.
Seal everything back up. It works brilliantly. Mold problems stay rare. Indoor air stays fresh. Energy bills stay dramatically lower than they would with constant ventilation. And once you understand the reasoning, leaving a window cracked for hours while your heating system fights to compensate starts to seem like the genuinely wasteful choice. 7. Cash culture. In an age of tap-to-pay and digital wallets, Germany held on to cash longer than almost any other wealthy nation. Restaurants, shops, even some larger stores prefer cash. Cards are possible sometimes, and other times not at all. Nur Barzahlung still appears in windows across the country. It is changing slowly now, especially after recent global events pushed digital payments forward. But the original preference reveals something deeper about German culture and history.
What?
Privacy matters here. Deeply. The idea of every single purchase being tracked, recorded, analyzed, and potentially used by corporations or governments does not sit well with a population that remembers, sometimes from direct family experience, what surveillance and data collection can lead to when taken too far. Cash leaves no trail. It is simple, anonymous, and completely under your control. What looks old-fashioned to visitors is actually a conscious philosophical choice about data ownership and personal freedom. Sometimes the old ways are not outdated. They are just principled.
And it's practical too.
8. The Autobahn. No list about Germany would be complete without mentioning the highway system that fascinates the entire world. Yes, large sections have no official speed limit. And yes, it somehow works without descending into chaos. But here is what people miss when they focus only on the speed. German drivers go through rigorous, expensive training before they ever touch a steering wheel unsupervised. Licenses are genuinely difficult to earn, costing thousands of euros and requiring extensive practice with professional instructors. The cars themselves undergo strict, regular inspections. The roads are maintained to engineering standards that would make transportation departments in other countries weep with envy. The Autobahn is not chaos. It is controlled freedom, built on a solid foundation of preparation and responsibility. Everyone on that road earned their place there and knows exactly what is expected of them. The system trusts drivers to make good decisions because the system made absolutely sure they were ready first. It is not about recklessness. It is about competence. Health insurance for everyone. Healthcare debates rage endlessly in some countries, carrying through elections and dividing populations for generations. Germany settled the question over a century ago. Everyone has health insurance. It is mandatory, and despite the complaints, it works. The system balances public and private options, ensures coverage regardless of employment status, and keeps costs reasonable through negotiation and regulation. Germans do not lie awake worrying about medical bankruptcy. They do not avoid going to doctors because—
And that's something that a lot of Americans do indeed. A worry. Don't get me wrong, they do.
On the other side. They just go when they need to, get treated, and move on with their lives. It is not perfect, and Germans absolutely love to complain about wait times, bureaucracy, and which treatments get covered. But
that's the thing, right? That's the give and take. You get the free healthcare, but it comes with some repercussions, which is the waiting time.
Single hospital visit can financially destroy a family. Those complaints start to sound almost charmingly minor. Remember those PF&D machines? That is just the beginning. German households typically sort their waste into multiple categories: paper and cardboard, plastic and packaging. glass separated by color, organic waste for composting, and everything else that does not fit neatly anywhere. It sounds exhausting until you realize the entire infrastructure is designed around making it easy. Color-coded bins sit in every building.
Wow.
Clear guidelines explain what goes where. Collection schedules run like clockwork. The result is a recycling rate that puts most countries to absolute shame. What seems obsessive from the outside is actually just organized from the inside. Once the system exists and everyone learns it, following along becomes second nature. The effort required drops to nearly zero, and the environmental benefits compound year after year. Punctuality as respect. Germans have a reputation for being on time, and it is not exaggerated for comedic effect. Trains run on schedules measured in individual minutes. Meetings start exactly when they are supposed to. Showing up late is not fashionable or casual. It is genuinely considered disrespectful. The reasoning is beautifully simple. Your time matters. So does everyone else's. Being late communicates, whether you intend it or not, that you value your own schedule more than theirs. In a culture built on efficiency, planning, and mutual respect, punctuality is not social pressure. It is basic courtesy extended to everyone you interact with. And when the trains do run late, Germans complain about it with a passion that can seem almost comedic to outsiders.
Wow.
In a system built on reliability, even small delays feel like fundamental betrayals of the social contract. 12. Waiting at crosswalks. And finally, the habit that baffles tourists more than almost anything else. Germans wait for the green light at crosswalks, even at 3 in the morning on an empty street, even when no cars are visible for miles in any direction, even when it seems completely, utterly pointless. It's not blind obedience to rules for their own sake. It's about something bigger, setting an example. Children learn traffic rules by watching the adults around them.
And there we go. And that holds adults accountable as well.
If everyone jaywalks whenever convenient, kids learn that rules are merely suggestions, optional guidelines to ignore when nobody is enforcing them. If everyone waits patiently, kids learn that safety matters more than saving 30 seconds of their day. What looks like unnecessary rigidity is actually a small daily investment in collective well-being, a recognition that individual actions ripple outward and shape the society everyone shares. And once you see it that way, rushing across an empty street just because you can starts to feel a little selfish. When you step back and look at all 12 of these habits together, a clear pattern emerges. Germany isn't just efficient for the sake of efficiency. It is a society that thought carefully about how systems shape behavior, how small choices compound over time, and how investing in structure today pays dividends tomorrow. The recycling works because the system makes it effortless. The roads are safe because the training is serious. The Sundays are quiet because rest actually matters. None of it happened by accident. All of it makes sense when you understand the thinking behind it. And maybe that's the real lesson. The things that seem strange about other cultures often turn out to be elegant solutions to problems we just haven't noticed yet. So the next time you hear someone mention Germany, you might think about cars and castles and beer. But behind those famous images is a country full of small, brilliant systems that feel completely normal to the people who live there and absolutely fascinating to everyone else. And there you have it, 12 things that might...
Very good. I mean, some of these stuff we already reacted in the past, but yeah, it makes sense, man. Those small tasks like that, it does create a better society, because what it does is it trains people to be organized. And that makes sense why I think some of these folks are very smart. Let me know what you guys think, guys. I will see you next one. I'm out.